On today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Catwoman. From the new line of animated treated figures, now coming to us in a larger scale and more articulated, we get ourselves Catwoman. And this is more the classic, original released Catwoman from the animated series. So it's not like the Catwoman with the black leather. This is more like, like Catwoman we would see at the beginning, the earlier seasons of animated series. This figure is also figure number 4. It has a choking hazard, small parts not for children under 3 years of age. It is recommended for ages 14 and up. Catwoman looks like she comes with her whip, also comes with her cat, and looks like comes with also a diamond necklace or some sort of expensive necklace. Also dig the back card with the old Batman animated series logo. On the back, surprisingly, no read-up. I don't know why they didn't give us any sort of read-up or any sort of idea of what other characters were coming in this line. They just, nothing. There's just a Batman logo. I'm not sure why, but I'm also, perhaps, maybe this is only in Canada. I don't know if you guys have this like this in your neck of the woods. Not that you live in the woods, but wherever you're from, let me know if yours is like this as well. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series figure number 4, Catwoman. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Just before we have a look at Catwoman, she does come with a pamphlet, and Spot's all about pamphlets. On the one side, we got Batman the Animated Series. On the flip side, we've got the New Adventures of Batman. And then we've got the character breakdown inside. What's interesting, too, is that it gives you the number of the characters. So Batman's number 1, Two-Face number 2, and Mr. Freeze number 3, for example. But then it gives you the episodes down below. So episode, for example, means season of Batman here. Two-Face, Sins of the Father. Cat in the Claw, Part 1. I don't know Batman enough to know whether these episodes are accurate to the way that the characters look. And the reason why I say that is because, like, for example, Batman here is not first season Batman. This is like the New Adventures of Batman look of him when they got the more streamlined designs. Same thing for Two-Face is the updated design. Poison Ivy, another good example, and Killer Croc is another good example. But Joker's from the more season 1 design. Same thing with Robin, same thing with Man-Bat. So I'm curious to know actually whether these episodes are accurate to the kind of characters. I know Last Laugh was an earlier season, so that would make sense to Joker, but I'd be curious to know if Mean Season was an accurate design for Batman during that episode. But you can see like the characters they've got lined up really has me excited. Like characters like Poison Ivy. We've gotten Kenner versions of this Poison Ivy, but it was very a disappointing figure. Mr. Freeze, we got Insect Body Mr. Freeze, which really was a good looking figure, but I mean, super articulated versions of these figures really has me extremely stoked. We'll just fold that up and put this to the side. Catwoman also comes with a display stand, and I think that's very crucial for her because she really has a tough time standing. She's got very small feet. She does come with a display stand. Yay, display stands, which gives you a character turnaround. If you're not familiar with a character turnaround for animated treatments, when you put together like a Bible and character reference guide, you would have turnarounds showing the animators how she looked from front, side, and back. And then on the back side, there's just nothing there. There's just, but I love that. That's really a neat look. And they've got it as if it was from like a Batman Bible. So that I really like. You can take the display stand and see how it's kind of like half mooned. It's not a full circle. That's a full circle. That's not a full circle. You're going to take that, and that fits in because there's a little notch right at the top. So you have to make sure that the more halved off display stand fits in there. And it's a secure fit, like pegging into place. And then you get this piece right here, and this piece just sits over top like so. And there you have the display stand. Now the display stand is also adjustable, just in case you're wondering. I don't know why the pole is as long as it is. It really technically could have been to about there. Because you're not going to really bring the character out that far, especially like Catwoman. You know, I probably would have her just standing, but you can adjust it further back as well. Now, like I said, Catwoman does need a display stand because she really has a tough time standing. The culprits is accurate design characters, but accurate design characters in a cartoon don't always translate to accurate cartoon characters in figure form. Now, because Catwoman has such very small feet, she really has a tough time standing. So luckily, she does have the display stand that you can adjust, and then you can put it around the figure like so. And these are also adjustable, these little sections right here. So you can put Catwoman in there. Probably have it up by, let's put it up by her waist, just like that. And then you can close these off. And then you have a figure that's, at least it's going to be standing her properly, and she's not going to go anywhere. It's a little big on Catwoman, but it's probably going to be the exact same stand setup for all the figures. So like broader characters like a Two-Face or Killer Croc are probably going to be using the same claw that, of course, it might look a little more awkward on Catwoman. Other accessories, before we actually have a look at Catwoman more in depth, she comes with her cat. Phenomenal detail on both Catwoman and the cat. The cat even has articulation in the front paws and also in the back paws. Tail looks like it could rotate, but I'm not going to force it too much just in case. And the head does also rotate as well, but it's on a very small ball joint. Nice detail though on the figure. I'm probably going to say this as well when we look at Catwoman more so, but the plastic feels different. It doesn't feel like the same kind of plastic that we've seen before with DC collectible pieces. It almost has a higher grade to it, like they've really put a lot of effort into this line. The downside though is not so much the cat, but all the other accessories feel fragile. Like there's a weird feel to the plastic where it feels like it's a more fragile piece. It's a higher quality of plastic, just like the feel of it feels like it's cast in a higher quality of plastic, but the trade-off, it does feel a little more fragile. So you get yourself her little meow cat. Put that to the side. Put her to the side. You also got yourself, I guess it's a him or it's a her, I don't remember. You also get yourself the whip, which is more of a pliable rubbery plastic, so it's not going to be as fragile as the other pieces. But I'll show you that in a second as well. She comes with the diamond necklace. Speaking of fragile, again, like very meticulously crafted, but like it feels very brittle. So I'd be very careful with this. Surprised that this was also not done in more of a rubbery plastic, but it really seems like they're putting a lot of effort into this line. Really nice piece though, the necklace. You also get this. I don't know what this is. I thought maybe it's a purse, like Catwoman's purse. I'm sure you guys are going to tell me it's probably something else, but I don't really know what this is. It was included in the pack. Maybe it is a purse of some sort or something that she carries around with her. Almost kind of looks like it could be a magnet. So I'm a little stumped as to what this piece actually is, but she does come with it. And lastly, she comes with some hands. Speaking of fragile, these are not rubbery. There's a little more density to the plastic than with, like, a lot of the action figures from like DC Collectibles usually have softer hands. Usually more softer rubbery hands. Like these feel like a dense plastic. So be very careful with these, especially the fingers. When you change out hands, be very careful with the pegs. And more importantly, be very careful with the fingers as you're putting the hands in. But you get two kind of clawing hands. And then you get more of a like closed hands for holding things. Like her whip and whatnot. Like those hands really are not that much different than the hands that she's currently sporting. So I don't know why they, not really sure why they gave us extra hands for something so similar. But you 2 extra pairs of hands. Which then brings us to, finally, Catwoman. And we'll just take her off her little claw base here. Just put that to the side. We'll put her cat there. There we go. She's a really nice piece. Again, the quality of plastic feels higher than the other DC collectible pieces that we've had a look at. Like, it just seems like the engineering on this is definitely a higher grade. She does feel fragile, though, in the sense that her joints are really stiff. So, like, when I was bending her elbow had a lot of resistance. And the whole time I'm bending, I'm thinking, oh, please, don't let this break off. Don't let this break off. Same thing with the knees. Like, when you bend the knees, you got to be very careful with bending those knees. Bending the ankles especially, for how small those ankles are, be very careful moving those. Do I like her face? Now, she is, again, in the more original design of Catwoman, where she had the gray jumpsuit, the gray cat suit with the black face. In New Adventures of Batman, she was all black, which they kind of made her a little more like Catwoman, where we saw like the Michelle Pfeiffer kind of Catwoman. I like this look to her. I wonder if we will also get that eventual release of Catwoman 2, but the one thing that does really bother me is the face. The mouth is good, the nose is good, but if you can see it, those eyes look like they're not properly painted in the section where the eyes should start. Because right above the eye, there is a lip. Now, I don't know if that could potentially be their idea of an eyelid. So, because that is the eyelid, that's why her eye is as closed as it is. But it makes her look tired. I wish the eye was just a little bit bigger. Maybe even if it had gone to the point where that eyelid started, if that is the eyelid, made the eyes just a little bit bigger. The rest of the figure is beautiful. Very basic in color, and just that she's mostly just gray. Black boots, black gloves, little bit of orange around the belt just to break that up. I'm also curious as to why they gave us Catwoman as such an early release figure. At the point that I'm recording this video, I haven't seen Batman. I haven't picked up a Batman yet. And Batman, as far as I know, is like Batman is 1, Catwoman is 4. So somewhere in the middle, Freeze and Two-Face, as far as I know, are still pre-orders. They haven't been released yet. So I'm wondering why we got Batman and then Catwoman, you know, as the release time for the figures, and not Batman and like Two-Face as the first two. But she's a really nice looking figure. She feels, as I mentioned, there's like a different grade of plastic I feel for this piece. It doesn't feel like the same kind of plastic we've been seeing with other DC collectibles. Like, it really feels like they're putting a lot into this line. You can really see it. It's very evident also in the display stand. Like, they're putting a lot into this line. So I'm hoping the line is going to be successful, that we're going to get more of these figures. The figures are also so good that I'm going to probably want to consider getting... I don't know about Catwoman, but the other figures I definitely would consider getting 2. One to open and one to display, and then one to keep sealed. When it comes to Catwoman's articulation, she's a far cry from the articulation that we got with the Kenner line, where you would have had a swivel head, swivel arms, swiveled legs. Catwoman here, on the other hand, has a ball joint in the head. Quite a bit of movement in the head. She has ball hinge socket shoulders. And they rotate forward and back, but again, be very careful when moving them. First time out of package, be very careful. She does have a ball hinge socket arm, so it bends and rotates at the arm. Her hand also swivels. And again, if you want to take the hand out, let's say we take like this hand here. We're going to just take the hand and just wiggle it off, but be very careful because that is a very small peg. And take the other hand and wiggle it back on. I always say wiggle it because it's going to prove to be less resistance to the joint. And then with this hand, we can put the whip in her hand, which I think might be a better fit, perhaps, to get her to hold the whip. There we go. When it gets to her waist, she has no articulation in the waist. Not that she would really need it, because waist swivel is not the one bit of articulation that I usually miss if it's not there on a figure. I don't really say to myself, geez, I really wish I could rotate at the waist. If anything, a ball joint torso is usually the way to go for me, but she doesn't have that either. It's just, this is all one solid sculpt. The legs, however, do go forward. Be very careful. Do go back via, it kind of, I guess this is a ball socket joint that's in the thigh. It's concealed well, though you see the pegs for the swivel on the legs out. The rest of the joints are very well concealed. Now, because these go forward, these go back, that's not so much an issue. I know a lot of people don't care for this bend. I can see that they wanted to do something where they could make the legs swivel. I'm surprised that they didn't go almost the more route of like just a universal ball joint. Just like a ball joint right there. I don't know if it would have made the figure look ugly. I don't dig so much the visible pegs on the fronts of the legs carry over on the back. Maybe it's just because it's Catwoman. If it was like a figure that wasn't light in color, you may not see it as much. But the legs do hinge out. Then when you get to her knees are just on a single hinge. Boots also rotate. And then when she gets down to the feet are really interesting. I don't know if it's going to carry over for all the other figures as well, but she has this interesting hinge where the foot is hinged. You see right there, that foot is hinged, but then it also hinges on that hinge. So the result is the foot goes forward, but be very careful on the Catwoman feet because they're just so small. But the feet would hinge forward and back, but then she also rotates at the foot socket there. That could be problematic for a character like Catwoman where she's got very small feet. Not so much an issue like the likes of a Mr. Freeze or a Two-Face, but Catwoman, because she's so small in the ankles, do be very careful. She's a great looking figure. Initially, I kind of felt like the face was a little too pale, but I think the more I look at it, the face is probably a good enough color. The eyes potentially could be a little too closed for my liking. I kind of wish that they were just a little bit more wide open. She looks a little too tired. It's just kind of my thought. Maybe if the eyes had been a little bit bigger, but like the overall work that they put into this, you can really see that they put a lot of effort into making this line a success. I haven't picked up the Batman yet. I'm hoping to pick up the Batman in the next couple of days, and when I pick him up, I'll do a review of Batman as well. But I'm really holding out hope that this line gets to be a real big success. To get an updated take on classic animated series figures that we grew up with in a much larger collector's market realm of figures really is exciting to me. Catwoman, I'm going to give her an 8. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Catwoman. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more videos heading your way, and certainly thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.